Hello, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm facilitating the second of 4 sessions of what I'm rather grandly calling Rune Seekers of Glorantha. This is a hack of World of Darkness, World of Dungeons Turbo to allow me to try playing in Glorantha after 40 years. If you don't know RuneQuest, you should go and look it up because it's a classic. You want to know anything else about this? Then please look back at session 1, where I provided far too long an introduction. What I will say is that we are playing with a set of safety tools, and I'll invite the players just to check out the safety tab in the character keeper. And we have our 4th player joining us today. So if there is anything that you want to add or upgrade on the safety tab, Sabine, you know where it is.
I already have that.
Great. And so we're playing with lines and veils. We're also playing with the X card, and we're playing with an open door. And at the end, we'll do stars and wishes just as a debrief, just to see, whether there's anything that people want to see more of or less of, or whatever else. The wishes from last time were, we've had an introduction, let's get on with it. I paraphrase. So with that in mind, and we're also playing with a community code of conduct. Almost forgot. So let me ask our rune seekers. Now, I think probably I'll do this left to right, but I'll leave Rissan till last. Because, it's the first time we get a look at them. So Mona, tell us a little bit about Delenda, this initiate of Llankhor and member of the Bison tribe.
Yeah. So I'm playing Delenda, her. She is she is a native to this land of Prax, yes. She belongs to the Bison tribe, and they all worship this god of the wild called Llankhor. And she has a family heirloom broadsword. And let me see anything. She has a riding bison that can carry a lot of stuff.
And what nobody knows about her yet is that she's a skin changer. I'm waiting for that reveal. Yeah. Waiting for that reveal. Tell me, do anything that you want to pick out from last time?
Yeah. So I think the quick recap of what happened last time is our character gets recruited by a person who works for the I can't remember his name. Let me.
Duke Raus of Rune.
No, I remember. Who is the guy who works for?
Oh, Dane.
Duke?
Dane, yeah. Swordmaster.
Yeah, we got recruited by Swordmaster Dane to carry the Duke's banner across the land, and Delenda volunteered herself as kind of a local guide, even though that's not actually her specialty. But she does know the local custom and stuff. So basically, we ended up, we meet a bunch of these health animal people who are also slavers. And while the first time we didn't do anything with them, but then we go to the village of these super tall people called the Agimori, and the Agimori want the Duke's justice because he says that two of his warriors were wrongfully enslaved by the beast people called the Morokanth. So now we are at the Morokanth stronghold, and there are hundreds of them, and only the couple of us. And yeah.
So moral difficulty, we might expand on that in a moment. Let me go to the person who is technically capable of scouting. Let me go. Joe, tell us a little bit about Incarnate and anything you want to add to the way you're feeling given the situation where we're going to start the narrative or restart the narrative.
Okay. So Incarnate is, there we go.
Sorry, you were expecting to be last, and I jumped to you because
no. The Google sheet was being slow to move from one tab to the other. I was like, come on. So Incarne is an initiate of Arnalda, who is sort of the Earth Queen, life sort of goddess. So yeah, so she comes from clans of people who are from Old Tarth, so they are poor and tribal and these sort of things. So she's sort of a survival tracking sort of person. So she has a her heirloom is a gold serpent armband, so she can speak with beasts, animals, and whatnot. Yeah, and so yeah, I think everything Mona said. We did have a bit of an encounter with the Morokanth. Arnalda is pretty not okay with the slavery stuff. Excuse me, and managed to kind of contain herself in that first encounter. But now we're back, and so one thing is that we met the leader of the Morokanth on the way, kind of left them, and then this individual is who we were just kind of kind of coming up to when we, I guess he would be the rock, and then the other tribe would be the hard place. That were, because one of the big things that the Duke Dane told us was that we're not supposed to piss anybody off along the way in the new domain. We're supposed to be making friends, winning and influencing people, so to speak. And so that's why we're in this rock and hard place. So I think that's most of it.
So, Blake, tell us a bit about Jandetin and anything you want to add to that, status update.
Yep. So Jandetin, him is an initiate of Humact, who's like death and war and honor. He's a Grazelander, and they're like known for their archery and horsemanship, even though they're only little horses. He uses his bow a lot. He's supposed to keep his word as part of his faith, so people keep trying to get him to agree to things. So yeah, the Duke asked us to sort of scout out this area and meet all the locals and chat to them, and one group of them has conned us into freeing their brethren, which has directly put us into conflict with one of the other groups, which is awesome. And the half-beast things are like human tapir. Tapir, they're kind of like a pig with a floppy nose. Yeah, that's what the Morokanths are like. Awesome. We're about to get in trouble. And it's RuneQuest, so it's Bronze Age. No one's got iron. No one's head-to-toe in armor or anything. It's more Conan than it is Excalibur.
Absolutely. And just to give you the final cherry on the top for this, Sabine, in terms of Rissan's arrival, the Morokanth have access to a spell that turns people into beasts. Not physically, just they remove their human soul and render them into the equivalent of cattle. This is an historical thing. When Waha gave the tribes kind of control of their herds, so when the Bison tribe were given control of the bison, the Morokanth complained. What do we get? And so Waha granted them a spell that converts people into the equivalent of animals. And as you arrive at the Morokanth encampment, you will see that there are herds of people. Several hundred, maybe more than that, people just sitting about, staring at you blank-eyed with cow eyes. And this is why Chaku Ironspear of the Agimori wants his two warriors back, because clearly he does not want that to happen to them. So that is the state of play. In terms of how you come to be here, I'm going to hard frame you into this, if that's okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's totally Okay.
You have worked for the Duke rather longer than the others
Okay.
because he needs a scribe and clerk and someone to organize his new colonization effort. And he sent you after the group. He's had second thoughts. He thought you would be more important where he was negotiating some labor. But he sent you after the group because he recognizes that a record may need to be kept. Decisions made in his name and stuff like that. And of course, you're the only person who can read and write.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So he sent you after them, and you have made good progress to catch up with them, because you encountered some of the Agimori who told you where they'd gone with their clan head. So that is the setup. We have several hundred Morokanth, each of which has at least 2 humans, in much the same way maybe as the Gracelanders at home typically have, 2 or 3 ponies. And you will see at the center of this encampment, temporary encampment in the scrubby underbrush, that you can see all these humans sitting about chewing on, leaves and grass. You can see what appears to be a standoff. We have the characters, Chaku Iron Spear and one of his warriors, and Kirill Keenclaw, and a handful of other important Morokanth, and there appears to be about to be an argument about the situation that we fleshed out to you. What's your immediate reaction to encountering this kind of person, these cattle-like people?
Yeah, as I said in the chat, well done, Waha. I think this is even worse than killing people, right? Because removing their humanity basically kills the human spirit, but they're still around. Ugh, no, I don't like it.
Thank you. And there at the center of this argument is Jandetin with the Duke's standard, who he was given possession of by Dane. Let me start with Incarnate. We know that you don't much like the whole Morokanth idea, and what you've now found out of them probably doesn't make that any better. These are not just slavers. So, Incarnate, what are you thinking in terms of how you're going to rock Hard Place?
Yeah, so she's pretty incensed. I mean, she barely kind of kept it together when we met them before. But I think so we had met up with the same was it Chaku? He's at there.
And I think he leaned over at the end of the last and said, "That is not happening to my people."
Yes, yeah.
Pointing at these.
Yeah. So do we see them at all? They're not part of. We know they're not yet part of the.
Yeah, they're not yet part of the herd.
So I'm not sure the group wants her speaking for them, but.
Well, no, I'm just after what Incarnate is thinking of in terms of a potential way to square this difficult circle, if there is one.
Well, so one of the thoughts I had was, we might be able, because I think there's hundreds of the Morokanth, right? So we're not going to be able to prevail most likely in just squaring up. So
I think simple force of arms is probably going to be bloody.
So she has some thoughts around potentially, maybe there's 2 thoughts she has. One is they claim right to any creature that they come upon in their territory. They'd kind of told us that before, but they are nowhere near their territory, and so that's
they are right.
They are. They were in the south.
They are, but you've gone to them.
Okay.
Yeah, you Chaku and you have trekked south from where the
Okay.
Agimori in the north were located down
Oh,
into the
all right.
Morokanth, the edge of the Morokanth, it must be said, but technically,
Yeah, okay, okay. Do we know why or how the two warriors, you know, were they in the Morokanth territory or?
fine. Then I think that's a reasonable question to ask Cariel
Yeah.
Keenclaw. And he, you know, he kind of looks at you and says, well, we found them hunting our herds. And Chaku intervenes and says, yes, and you know, Foundchild is a hunter. That's the god they worship. And so all creatures can be hunted. But it does sound like they were caught people rustling. Let me just leave that one there for a moment. Let me go to Delenda. Delenda, what's your thinking at this point about any way to square this circle? I've just noticed in the chat there is a question from Rissan. Is this spell reversible? Do we know that? I think as our local culture and heritage expert, Delenda, you know that this is a permanent spell. This removes the human soul and throws it away.
Yeah, I think at this point, what I'm thinking is maybe we will benefit if the Agimori go to war with the Morokanth without our interference.
Okay. War is diplomacy by other means. Okay. I will just remind you of something Dane or the Duke, I can't remember which, said to you, which was that the Agimori are thought to be great warriors, and if they could be enlisted to the Duke's aid, that would be no bad thing. But let me go to Jandetin. What's your thinking at this point?
I was going to challenge them and saying, like, if I beat you in a spear throwing contest, I win the Warriors sort of thing. Try and get on their pride and say, I heard you guys are good, but I bet I can beat you with a spear throwing thing. So I guess it's a persuasion roll or something.
Well, or an actual competition. Okay. And this is a competition with the Morokanth.
Yes.
To win the Warriors back.
Agimori, yep.
Okay. So Rissan, this is the conversation that you come in on. And I think just we'll retrofit you in by saying that the other three will have seen you with the Duke at Horngate where they left him. So I don't think we need to, worry about the fact that they think that you're a proper representative. But that is the conversation that you hear going on, or the hints of it. What's your thinking about how you could square this circle?
Yeah, I like the idea of having a competition. That seems like solid thinking here, because it's a lot better than trying to fight these people, all of them. Not a good idea. So yeah, I will dredge up some kind of historical competition that happened in a more or less similar circumstance. And
well, let's try that. You've got law. Let's see if you can come up with something. This sounds like roll with wit. The link to the dice room is on the safety tab.
And what do I roll for this?
So you roll 2d6.
Okay.
Add
so
wit. And I'm just thinking, didn't you? There was something about.
I have my heritage thingy, bronze votive image, grants +1 to the cult skill use, and that is lore, so I get +2.
Exactly so.
Oh, I don't want to open Zoom. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong link here. I want the link to the dice roll. It's loading.
We wait for the dice to settle.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to type in my name. After that, 2d6s, modifier.
There we
It's
go.
a 7.
Okay, so on a 7, if we go to the core rules, just to this, there's a single move basically. Take action. On a 7+, you succeed and choose one from the list. However, if you have a relevant skill, law, when you take action and one of your skills is relevant, a 6- becomes a 7 to 9. Any 7+ grants you an extra choice from the list. Now I keep meaning to add to that list. So 7+, you see, choose one from the list. You're going to choose 2. Avoid a narrative consequence, or come up with what you need. You know, it works. The role works. You come up with some reasonable competition. But
Yeah.
I think because you in effect have law giving you a bonus, I think this is a very convincing argument you're putting, that some kind of competition. And yeah, I mean, there are lots of examples of gods challenging one another, or people challenging one another and letting the gods decide.
Can I also, if I have 2 choices, can I also choose gain +1 that can be passed to another seeker? So
Exactly so.
pass that to Blake or Jandetin.
So what are you proposing, Jandetin, exactly?
They had spears, didn't they?
The Agimori have spears, and so do the Morokanth. Yes.
All right, so either a spear throwing or spear fighting contest. Me and them, bring it on. Me and whoever they think their best is.
Um.
And I'm going. You know, unless you're too scared, you don't think you can. You know, you're going to be good enough. And I'm trying to get their pride in.
And Kirill strokes his nose, which takes a long time given that proboscis. And says, and I could name my champion.
Sure.
And I could name when and where this took place.
Well, it's got to be Morokanth. You can't name the Agimori, who are the prize in this case. That's not fair.
If I can't name a champion, then
one of your own people, sure. But time and place, sure, that's up to you.
I will only do it if I can name my champion, and it need not be one of my people. I don't see why I should put one of my people at risk.
Well, it can't be one of the prizes. They can't fight against their own freedom.
I undertake not to name an Agimori.
Okay.
Then I name one of the brew who have been troubling my people and have taken up residence, we think, in an outcrop of rock, perhaps a half a day south of here. Brew are creatures of chaos.
Great.
Bring me the head of a brew to demonstrate you have succeeded against my champion, and I will hand back the Agimori. Are we agreed?
Must look at the others.
I think we need to stipulate that they must be whole. They can't.
They can't be blessed by the Waha. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you know what passes for a Morokanth laugh is, you know, when they sneeze. Is of course not. I am honorable. I would not cheat you in that way. Which, of course, sets you thinking about all the other ways in which he could possibly cheat.
Yeah.
I mean, he is basically cheating already. But,
I got that, but we're outnumbered 100 to 1. And
yeah.
even with my ego, I can't.
I would stipulate that you could take your own retinue with you.
Yeah, I thought we were all going.
Yeah, that needs to be part of the deal.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't care about that. As long as he gets one brewhead back,
Mhm.
Yeah.
all will be well.
We will go and bring the brewhead in return for the unharmed to Agimori.
But if you do not return but with the head within 2 days, when Yelm disappears in 2 days' time, then we will proceed with the ceremony.
Well, how
It's
far is it? How much time?
traditional, it's 3 days though. Just saying, it's traditionally it would be 3 days.
It's about half a day, he reckons, from here.
I will interject that.
3 days. He will. It's very good.
Okay.
I am a generous individual. I do not wish to be seen to be unjust. Bring me the head of a brew before Yelm has set 3 times, and I will set the Agimori free.
I'll look at the Agimori guy that came with us. Is he, does he seem amenable to this? Or?
I think he kind of looks at you, looks at the 4 of you, and raises his eyebrows as if to say, are they up to it? I will wait 3 days. I will return here at dusk on the 3rd day. And if you have not succeeded, my options remain open.
Delenda, you got any thoughts before we sign the deal, so to speak?
Well, honored father, not that we distrust you, but should we have someone here to make sure that everything goes according to our agreement?
He's very happy to offer Chaku Ironspear and his tribesman, his compatriot, the hospitality of his camp. And hospitality is sacred. You know that, Bison Rider.
Yes, very well.
I've just realized I'm not sure how a Morokanth points, given they've only got the 3 fingers. But so Chaku will stay. He's slightly suspicious. I'm sure one of them will be awake at all times. But 3 days, dusk in 3 days' time.
All right, this sounds like a better option than get slaughtered by 200 Morokanths. Until we come up with a better plan, we can try this. All right, agree.
Montage, I think, unless anyone wants to do anything else. Montage to you crossing the plains of Prax. They're not desert. It's scrubby. It's low trees and bushes, maybe some cactus, low rolling country in the direction he gives you, and you will see. Because let's say it's half a day gone by the time this negotiation has been completed. By dusk that night, the first dusk, you can see in the distance a rocky outcropping kind of erupted out of the plain. Do you proceed to arrive there in full dark, or do you camp here at dusk? I'm going to ask Incarnate, because you're our survival expert. You're our out and about in the wilds. What's your thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that maybe it would make sense if she scouted out ahead to kind of get a lay of the land to see what we were dealing with.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. The rocky outcropping is several hours away. Okay. So do you want to do? It's dusk now. Do you want to set off and arrive there on your own in full dark, or not?
In this first dusk.
You could be there early tomorrow. What are you thinking? I don't want to force you to go off into the dark on your own.
So I'm thinking, if we're going to fight something, we probably need to be. So I'm going to propose that Incarnate's going to propose that she's going to go ahead, and have the rest of them set up camp here, and then she'll get a good lay of the land, and then we can approach with more knowledge in the morning.
And I think, Incarnate, you've got survival. I'm going to assume that you've identified a campsite, maybe in a dip. So, you know, from that rise, you can see the rocky outcropping. From the dip, they won't be able to see the fire. But yeah, so let me think. I think that this is probably wit and survival would apply. Just to be on a clip before we do that, I just want to be clear with the others. If Incarnate is not back now, I think this is probably an hour or so there, maybe an hour to scout about, an hour back. If she is not back by the middle of the night, is there an assumption about what you're going to do? Delenda, would you sit still or would you go looking for her?
Well, I say, you know, if you can't make it back by midnight, you are probably not making it back.
I love the Bison Rider's practicality. Rissan, what about you? Hang on, is it Rissan or Ristan?
Oh, yes, that's a good question, but I think I think it's Rissan. Rissan? I don't know. Rissan, I think.
Fine,
That's
okay.
the team. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just didn't want to keep calling you something wrong. Rissan, what about you? What's your thinking if there's no sign of Incarnate by the middle of the night?
I'm not staying awake until the middle of the night. I'm tired. We've walked the whole day. I mean, if somebody wants to wake me up to go looking for her, sure. But I can see in the dark, and I probably can't find her in the dark. So if she's not back by midnight, I think we might leave early in the dawn when we can see our way, and then go see if we can find her. However, we will do that because my knowledge of track finding is rather limited. I think that's her specialty, actually.
Fine. Jandetin, what about you if there's no sign of Incarnate by the middle of the night? Clearly, Delenda thinks not back in by then, not coming back. And Rissan rolls himself in his rather attractive Esrolian blankets. And what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think go early in the morning if they're not back. I was going to ask if Rissan knows anything about Chaos Beasts.
Well, let's have that conversation after Incarnate has discovered them. So Incarnate, let's have you roll.
Let's have the conversation before Incarnate encounters them, please.
Because right.
I think that might be a good thing for Incarnate if we can pass some information about what she's going to look for when she goes scouting. It seems like it would be a good idea to do that before we actually jump on them. Sorry, but
I'm not going to make you roll for that. I think just there's the fiction's not going to change here. It's just that you know some stuff. And I think there's no question that you know that brew. There's some discussion about whether they are goat beastmen or whether the variety of brew is because a variety of different horned beasts were given intelligence. More often than not, they are goat-horned and goat-legged. But more importantly, they are worshippers of chaos. They sided with chaos in the god time. And they have been blessed by chaos with a variety of physical and other changes. So no two brew tend to be identical. Or that's what the books say. That's what you can have for nothing. Is if you've got any specific questions, then I'll make you roll.
okay, if they are difficult, different, have different abilities, yeah, well, anything I could remember about them having very good noses and good sense of smell, it might go for one and not the other, right? So
Again, I won't make you roll for it. I'll simply tell you the thing about chaos is it's chaotic.
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
all of the changes are advantageous. Some of them are very advantageous.
Yeah,
So-
just be careful and hurry to take. We can't really expect something can tell you what to expect. It's beyond that, these are looking like goats. They are probably a good sense of balance because goats usually do. They might have horns, they might have long horns. Yeah, I don't know how well they smell. I don't know if they're carnivorous because goats usually aren't, but the beastmen often are, so be careful, please. Don't get eaten.
I've added a classic pair of brew to the NPC tab down there on row 70-ish. If you want to have an idea in your head of the classic brew, but of course they're all different. So with all that not at all weighing on your mind, Incarnate, let's see, what do we see then as night falls and you approach this rocky outcropping?
Yeah, so I think she has all the for a moment I had in my head the images from the Conan movie with all the black and stuff, but that's but yeah, so I mean this is what she does, right? So she's, I think she goes, with almost nothing but like the bow, right? So she's very lightly, so she doesn't, make a lot of noise, but I think we see her, taking like wide berths around things, and looking at all, taking in all of the signs from, the from nature, right? Where, to kind of get a sense of what, what we're walking into, because I think she's going to be wanting to get, are there 5 brew? Are there 100 brew? Are there, she definitely wants to get a sense of, what we're, and maybe if all we need to do is bring a brew head back, is there a way to do that without going all in, right? If we can find some way to get one isolated and, do it easy. So
Hang on. Just okay. Let me think. Okay, let's have you roll with survival then. You don't have stealth, do you? Just survival.
just survival and tracking. So those are the 2.
Let's go with tracking. That's a better option, I think.
Okay, hang on.
Sorry, when I say roll with tracking, I'm slipping into other games. I think that this is wit or grit. Is this, stealing yourself to get close, or trying to choose a path that is safe?
No, I think it's more using her knowledge of things and choosing the best way to get the information. So
Okay, then that's wit.
alrighty. There you go.
I'm
8.
seeing a 7 plus 1 is 8. So you succeed. Choose one from the list. Gain a narrative advantage, e.g. +1. I've updated the move because I forgot to do it between sessions. That can be passed to another seeker. So what's the narrative advantage? You were interested in numbers, weren't you?
Yes, kind of just. I think the number one thing is just what are we really, how many are there and what are we walking into? So
Fine. I think that this rocky outcropping, it kind of comes up as a kind of wedge that's been kind of driven up out of the ground at some point in the distance past, weathered, crumbly. But there's an overhang and a platform, a ledge underneath that overhang, and you can see that there's a fire there. And I think that you will see at least several shadows being cast by that fire up onto the overhang. And of course, because they're shadows and flickering firelight, the shapes of those shadows are odd. They are flexible. Some seem very bulky, some seem very spindly, some are horned, some are not. But I think you can assume there are at least 5 around that campfire, based on the kind of flickering shadows that merge and separate. Do you want to get closer?
Yeah, I think I do, because I'm intrigued by I'm, when Rissan said, they're all different, right? They're, plus, can I, out of character, can I assume, so I don't know much about RuneQuest stuff, so, but my understanding is there was very much this law chaos sort of dichotomy, right? So, where would Arnalda fit on that? I'm just trying to get a vibe of are we all pretty anti-chaos, or is there any sort of,
Yeah. Now, if you check out your the runes associated with your cults, there is no sign of chaos. And chaos is a twisting of life.
Okay.
Chaos takes the life that Arnalda creates and bends it out of shape. It doesn't create, it twists and perverts.
Okay. So it's not seen as a kind of one end of a spectrum. It's a perversion of life. So okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are in the Lunar Empire, the Lunars are said to consort with chaos, which but we don't have. Nobody here is Lunar. The Duke is from the Empire, but nobody loves a brew.
Nobody loves a brew. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that. Yeah, so I think she wants to get a little bit closer. I also think she's thinking that, if she can catch one of these out, maybe maybe she could take care of this right now,
Okay, so again, I think that this is edging into grit territory, because this is now about fortitude, willpower, getting closer, because stealth would be the ideal skill here now, which you don't have. So I think this is with grit to get close enough to see some more.
Okie dokie. So is tracking or survival gonna play in at all in this?
I don't think it is, now that you want to get close enough.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
Oh, it got better. So a 9. Answer, you choose one. So ask me another question and I will give you an honest answer.
I think.
What do you really want to know?
This is too. Oh, sorry. so if this is too much, just let me know. So I think ultimately what she's trying to do here is, how do we get one of these without coming in and fighting 5 of them?
I'm not sure that getting close in and having, I think that's a conversation to have around the fire pit. When you get back.
Okay.
What I think I can tell you is that when
So
you
if that's too, I think if that's too much, maybe I want to know what they look like, what they're all about.
Okay. There is certainly one of them that comes to piss off the edge of the the platform where their camp is, who is huge. You know, bigger than an Agimori. You know, and you know, thick set with these great horns, you know, curling away from the head. So there's at least one very big one. There's one with a very significant limp as you see the shadow moving around the fire. Anything else? And then the thing that I think probably suggests that you may want to slink away into the darkness and go back to the group is you see 2 eyes glowing as you kind of, you know, edge. Maybe you've come up a little way on this outcrop and you're trying to get a view in from the side. You see a head turned towards you, a horned head turned towards you, and it has glowing green eyes. And suddenly you think, maybe it can see me better than I can see it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah?
Yep. So I have one more out of character question. I apologize. So the earthquake, I have the rune spell of earthquake.
You do.
Does that just do damage to, as written, it does damage to, but like, could that be used to like, you said they're in like an overhang, whatever, like could that be done, or is that too precise of a use of it? I was thinking maybe to like topple the rock in the earthquake, if that's.
Yeah, I mean, earthquake's a big word.
Yeah.
It's 1d6 damage, close loud. So, you know, you probably are getting towards close enough. Shared among target group. So you do 6 points of harm shared between them. So
Okay.
it's more like causing, you know, rocks to fall from the roof rather than kind of. You with me?
Yep, 100%. So I think she will take this chance to slink away.
Fine. Rocks fall, everyone lives. Yeah. And so, yeah, let's cut back to the fire when I think probably Rissan we know is asleep. Delenda thinks if you get back, you get back. I think it's Jandetin who may be more likely to be awake, wondering if you're coming back. And so you share all of that. Jandetin, you wake the others up, or are you going to wait till, you know, early pre-dawn?
I'll wait till morning. Is there more than one of these really nice blankets? Because I might just sort of slowly tug one towards myself.
No, I think Rissan's nice Esrolian blanket
Damn it.
is probably a luxury brought from home.
Well, yeah, but one of the few things I still have. Please leave me my blanket.
Damn it. All right. Yeah, I'll wait up for Incarnate.
And do you wake the others up when she gets back, or Incarnate, do you think this is your information is important enough to wake people up, or do you just wait until the morning?
I think it's probably, we could wait till morning. I mean, if there's a several hour journey there still, you know, we probably have plenty of time to kind of debrief and figure out the best course of action.
Fine. So, you know, pre-dawn, you know, Delenda, you probably wake when your bison begins to kind of nuzzle you. Rissan may be the one who needs to be kind of woken up. I don't know. You know, this
not used to physical exertion, like walking around for the whole day. Yeah, you'll have to wake me up.
And over, dry grains and some beef jerky or whatever, maybe not beef. Incarnate shares what you've heard. Delenda, what are you thinking at this point in terms of how you're going to approach this?
I'm thinking we should find the smallest one. I was thinking if there is like a mouse brew, maybe we should find that one.
Tiny, tiny, tiny horned brew.
Yeah.
Worth a shout. How are you going to cut it out of the herd, I think is then the question. Rissan, what are you thinking?
Oh, I'm thinking that this sounds like a thing that somebody else might want to do, but the thing is, what we need to do is to kind of separate one of them from the others. And how would we do that? Good question. Maybe with some bait, or we could try to throw some rocks at them and make it look somehow more impressive than it actually is, I guess, so that they will think they have to run away. I don't know.
So scare them out into the open.
That would be a good idea if we had, we have an earthquake spell. What else do we have?
We'll worry about the detail in a bit, but that's scare them out into the open.
Yeah,
and hope there's a tiny one.
And hope there is one that runs off in another direction than the others, so we can isolate it, maybe bait it then. I can be the bait because I'm not much of a fighter, so I'm not much of a runner either. But
wow, a volunteer
probably be good bait because
I can be the bait. I can run.
Oh, thank you.
Just Blake, I do need to check on Jandetin. Your cult skill is hand to hand, but you don't have a hand to hand weapon. Is that deliberate or an omission?
That's an omission. I kept thinking Mongol, so I went with the bow and arrow on the back of the horse, sort of thing.
That short sword would cost you 2 coin, which I think you have left to spend. Or the broadsword.
Then.
I think. Hang on.
I think the short sword sort of fits better.
The short sword will cost you 2. What that does mean though is it shuffles you up from light to normal load, just by the by.
Yeah. Tethered goat volunteer, and then scare them out or draw them out appears to be what's being put. Yeah, draw them out. Go in, shoot one, run back.
Okay. Incarnate.
The others will get on each side, and yeah.
I think what Jandetin is suggesting is that he rides up there, shoots at them, draws them out, and then some kind of ambush happens. What are you thinking about how that might go, given survival?
So I a couple thoughts. So one thought is if we went that route, we could call upon Ernalda with the earthquake when they come out, maybe to weaken them and scare them potentially. Maybe cause them to kind of scatter or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Or we could try to maybe do that if we wanted to try to do that first, causing them to scatter and whatnot, which could maybe then separate them. I don't know. I think either one would be, because it could create some panic amongst them with the earthquake, plus do a little bit of damage to them to help make it a little bit easier. So, but I think I'd have to get close if we did it, because it is close. So I'd probably have to, if we wanted to do the earthquake ahead of time, or attempt to do the earthquake ahead of time, I guess.
And if they come for you, then I'll shoot them, so I can be the plan B bait to draw their attention.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you shoot the one that is most likely to be not as strong as the other, so then we can try to get that one.
And just to clarify, when you say huge, are we talking 10 foot or are we talking 20 foot? Because
well, the Agimori are about 8 feet tall. It was bigger than Agimori.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
you know, bulkier.
Wow.
Well, maybe it makes sense for Incarnate to be the bait, because she could approach to get close enough and perform the earthquake thing and then run away. and then you guys could ambush whatever's, that might work too, because she's also light load, so she's going to be she's probably going to be, I don't know if there's a mechanical sense to that, right? But theoretically she should be the quickest, given that.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, the quickest is likely to be either the Grayslander pony or the bison, given the riding skill of Delen. There's a risk of planning paralysis, but Delenda, what's your kind of contribution at this point in terms of draw them out, frighten them out, ambush them?
I'm going to cut its head off. Obviously.
That's your job.
Can you stampede it with your bison? That's the question. I mean, bison's big enough for even to stampede that one.
Well, I think that's part of the issue here, isn't it? That for Incarnate to unleash Earthquake, she has to get quite close to them. For Blake to fire an arrow at them, that could be quite a distance away. And if Delenda is going to charge any down, you need a bit of momentum to build up. So that's going to be from a bit of a distance as well. So, Incarnate, if you want to unleash Earthquake on them, you're going to have to clamber up onto those rocks. There's no question of that. Because that ledge is probably 20 feet up with an so the ledge is 20 feet up and the overhang is above that. So, I don't think you're going to kind of run up to them, cast Earthquake and run away. You're going to clamber up, cast Earthquake, clamber down. Yeah, so bear that in mind.
Yeah, I can be next closest, shoot them, and as they're coming for me and I'm shooting them, Delenda can do a run up with the bison and smack.
And then Incarnate, you wade in with Earthquake from a place of cover nearby. Because again, survival would be good for camouflage. Rissan.
Foolproof plan.
Rissan. A plan is emerging.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in this plan?
Very much in the background, noting what everybody else is doing.
So separate away, or with one of them?
I was thinking that I might change one of my spirit magic spells because I have a lot of stuff that is not very useful in a combat situation. So
I don't know. Silence might be useful in that, giving us some ability to, however it works. Would that help us be able to approach?
Suppresses any noise in my immediate area, so I don't think so.
Probably not.
What I was thinking about flare, create a momentary blinding arc of light aimed in the direction you nominate, and that might be a good thing that I could take. I also like that.
That combined with an Earthquake might be quite a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, stop me, but I think what's going to happen is that Incarnate is going to try to get you close enough to be, a decent bow shot, a chance of a bow doing some harm, and encouraging them to clamber down and chase you or do something else. For that to be convincing, Jandetin, you're going to have to be on foot.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then you're looking for a location where just over that rise, you're going to run towards that rise, disappear over it, and hopefully
Delenda can go smack. Yeah,
Delenda hits them, and Incarnate and Rissan do their thing. That's what's going to happen, or you're going to try to make happen, unless somebody tells me not. Okay. Cut to a rolling depression in the plains of Prax in the middle of the day. The sun is high in the sky. It's edging into the low 40s. It's very hot. Jandetin strings his bow. Rissan and Incarnate, you're holding the Grazelander pony and the other animals. Delenda, are you close to where this is supposed to all happen with Incarnate and Rissan, or are you a bit further away in a different direction on your own?
I think I'm probably in a different direction. So I
Fine.
can cut it off in case it goes to a different direction. We are not all crowded in one place.
I like that. So I've got Blake's going to go over the rise. Jandetin is going to go over the rise and try to entice them to chase him. He's going to run down into this little depression. That's where Rissan and Incarnate are, inverted commas, concealed. They're going to unleash something to try and, really confuse, damage the brew. And then we got the option on Jandetin turning on them, Delenda appearing, wallop, and, their general chaos ensuing or chaos pursuing. Is that what we're hearing? I think it is. That's where we'll take our first break. So it is 7 minutes past now. I'm going to suggest we're back in our seats at 1/4 the hour. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'll see you at 1/4.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see how our plan does when it actually contacts any kind of reality. So, Jandetin, what kind of approach are you making? Maybe you've got 50 or 70 yards to cover from this depression. What are we seeing as dawn?
I mean,
rises?
he's crouching a bit, and he'd sort of, take a few steps and listen, and take a few steps and listen. He's got a bit of time, so he'll, because he's presuming they're going to be asleep, but he's just being cautious just in case.
Okay. They're not stupid, so they've posted a watch. So you see one of these brew stand up on this platform up there as you begin to make your way forward. Because I don't have any stealth, do you?
No.
So I'm not going to I'm just going to assume that c'est la vie. And you see him disappear back from the edge, and you can probably hear some commotion up there, and soon there are 8 brew standing on this ledge looking at you. The big one, the spindly one, the one who now in the light is green-haired, furred.
Shit.
One with really weird moving horns. And you're about 50 yards away. So is this where you're shooting from? Or is this,
the one with the weird moving horns, just...
Okay. Are you shooting to hit or annoy? Or would that...
It's the same thing.
Fine, okay. So let's have you roll with might, I think. And a bow is... I'm gonna put you at far, so it's might -1.
All right, so it's basically a straight roll. Okay. 8.
8. On it costs you 1 health to... Oh no, that's hand to hand. No, you're fine. Choose one. I'm assuming you want to mark a segment on the clock, i.e., do damage.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one with the strangely kind of tentacular horns, this whizzes past him and he crouches, and you have marked one on his clock, so to speak.
Yeah, you're like, come on, you cowards.
And there's a kind of they're kind of looking at you. You might need to get closer because I'm not sure they're picking up what you're shouting at them. How good an insult can you? How do you insult a brew?
Moon 'em.
I'm up to that. I'm here for that. You could get, if you got too close, then you wouldn't be on the -1 for might. If you can,
I could also get killed really quickly. So
well, I mean, but they look big and clumsy, and they won't be able to run as fast as you, Jandetin, surely.
I'm not falling for that.
You gonna try another shot?
If they're not running towards me yet, you sure?
It looks like they look to the big one in terms of what should we do.
Sweet, I'm gonna fire at him then.
Okay. Okay. Do your thing. Might -1.
Alright, come on, dice. Ah, the same.
You hit him and it scoots off his skin.
Yeah.
But that's enough to get them moving. And they begin to swarm down the kind of rocky, because it's not cliff face here, but it's broken rocks that Incarnate clambered up. And they begin to howl.
Okay.
What do you do?
Can I do my shield spell as I'm running away?
You can.
All right.
So shield is in place, but that's its one use gone. Oh no, sorry, rune spell shield. Yes. No, you have to call for help, don't you? So use when you want the benefit of roll plus your current favor, which is all 2, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So, 8. I'm all 8s today.
7+. Your god grants you the full effect of the spell at the cost of 1 favor. So current favor goes from 2 to 1. Yep. But you have shield in place. Remember that, because I will forget. Anybody else casting any rune spells just to get this out the way? Because Jandetin is now running back towards you. Was there a signal when you that you were going to shout when you started running back towards?
Just ah!
Okay. And I think we get that picture of your face here. And then the camera drifts past you to what's behind you, and you can see this oncoming rush. One of them is very long-legged and fast. Blake, I need you to roll, Jandetin, I need you to roll with might, I think, to stay ahead of him. But these long, springy legs are going to make it a -2. You're at significant disadvantage in a foot race with this brew.
Ah, shit. There you go, 4.
Look at that, a 4. You fail. Things turn out badly. The GM will describe the consequences. This one is, and you can hear that behind you. It is going to leap on you any minute. Do you stop and turn and face, or what?
Or just let it like half the distance?
It's tantalizingly close, the brow of this depression where the others are waiting for you.
Yeah, right. What the hell?
What the hell? Which way? Turn and face?
Keep going. I'll turn and face.
Okay.
That's what my god would want.
I would have thought so. Incarnate, Rissan, you can hear the howling getting closer. There's no sign of Jandetin. Incarnate, are you tempted to kind of go to the brow of this little depression, just see what's happening?
So the plan is
You were supposed to wait for them to just come down here and then do your thing. And the others might reach you, but it looks like the target has just stopped running.
Oh, yeah. And so do we know he's stopped?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Do you want to go and have a look? Because there was the yell, and he is now, seconds overdue.
Yeah, I think she'll come up over the. I think she'll actually just come up over the rise and be prepared to, because she's gonna do the rune spell when they're within close, right? So.
Okay. Rissan, you're now on your own in the depression. You see Incarnate go up to the top, see something, and clamber up.
I'll go. If Jandetin is late, I will go look, because knowledge is always better, and that's what my god would want. So,
Indeed.
Anyway,
Delenda, from your observation point, some little distance away, you can see that the plan is not going to plan. What do you do?
Can I reach the? Wait, one of them is chasing Jandetin, right?
Yeah.
Or is it all of them?
Say it again, sorry?
Like only one of the blue is chasing Jandetin, or like
all of them are chasing. One of them is about has reached him because it's fast. So it's come ahead of the crowd. The others will be a couple of turns, inverted commas, before they arrive where Jandetin is. The idea was that he was going to lead them down into this depression, and you were going to hit him. But that's not happening. Incarnate has gone up. Rissan's gone with her. What are you going to do?
So can I reach the long-legged one?
Not before it reaches Jandetin.
Let me see. I don't think I have any ranged weapon.
The bison is great, but it takes a little bit of, momentum to get it going. But it doesn't look like the action's going to come to you, put it that way.
So which one is the smallest? I'm going to ride my bison toward the smallest one.
Okay. I think the small there are in these 8, there's the fast one about to leap on Jandetin. There's the huge one and the limping one, which are lagging behind a bit. And then there are 5 others that are approximately man-sized and approximately the same size, some variation. They will be the second wave to hit Jandetin. So you've got the fast one who's there now, you've got 5 coming on behind that, and you've got the big one who's at the back. So the smallest one is probably one of those 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can I tell which one is likely the weakest?
The limping one, probably, right?
The limping one is at the back with the big guy, because they're both slow for different reasons. I suppose I need to know here, Delenda, are you charging one of these groups of brew?
Yeah,
or
definitely.
Are you pausing to decide on a particular target?
Yeah, I think I'm going to charge first.
Fine, think later. It's very bison. So fine, and I see you probably heading towards the 5 that are in the second wave.
Yeah, the general direction of the most likely to be small ones.
And fingers crossed that they don't have some vast magical power chaotic feature.
Yeah,
I'm with that. So let's cut to Jandetin. Behind you as this thing is long-legged, leaping towards you. And then when it gets close, it leaps and you turn. What do we see?
He's got a short sword and cries out, "Blood and souls for Humact."
Okay. Hand-to-hand does cost you 1 health. Yeah, right. So you pay a health to engage in hand-to-hand combat. And let's have you roll plus might. And the modifier for a short sword or light weapon is might -1.
Oh, it's a straight up.
Let's see if the combat system works.
Crap. 6.
That is a 6. Okay. So, you know, blood and souls for Humact, and the sword slides past its shoulder as it comes down on you.
Mhm.
And headbutts you, because what
Oh,
else would you
great.
expect the blue to do? They're armed with spears, but the headbutt is the headbutt classic, and that is 2 harm. Now you've got light armor. I'm going to give you the benefit of 1. You take 1 health.
Right.
Yeah, and you go
Yep.
down in a pile. Incarnate, you see that happen. It's about 30 paces away. You will get to Jandetin just before the second wave comes up to Jandetin, and so will Rissan, assuming Rissan runs with you. Delenda, I'm going to, because the whole point was you want to hit them from a slightly different direction. So I think you're going to appear from one side, and you're going to hit whichever one of those 5 is nearest to you, unless you want to start picking targets.
No, that's fine.
So the sequence here, I think, is probably Delenda hits, or they become aware that there's Delenda hits, Incarnate arrives at Jandetin. Anything that's left after Delenda hitting will then arrive at Jandetin, and then we'll worry about the big guy and the limpy. Yeah?
I would like to do something as well. And I think what I want to do is I will discharge the light flash now, because I think I will target it at the 5 guys that are being targeted by the bison, because that's easier. I don't want to blind my own compatriots, and and if they don't see the bison, maybe it's easier for it to trample them.
Makes a lot of sense. Spirit magic just works. You instruct the spirit to do it, and the light spirit goes in that direction, and you know, creates a momentary blinding arc of light aimed in the direction. It dazzles and distracts anyone or anything looking nearby. I just need to know broadly how many of them are really badly hit. Yeah, so I want you to roll 2d6 plus 2, which is the closest I got to a random roll. 9. Okay. They are all affected. 2 of them are really badly affected. So now of the 5, 2 of them are really badly affected, and they are all dazzled for the moment. Delenda, that happens just before you make contact. So you are not at risk here unless something awful happens. You will charge into at least one, and if that goes really well, the bison's momentum may carry you into a second one. Seem fair?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
So should I roll?
Yes, please. I think this is riding is relevant here. So
Yeah.
so you are rolling with might, but riding is at play, because you're largely trying to trample these guys down, not hit them with a lance.
Yeah. So it's 2d6 plus the. Yeah. Okay. I got a 7.
A 7. Well, because riding is the skill is relevant here, that 7 gets you a benefit. So you are going to do, in terms of the core rules, you are going to mark 1 segment on a clock, and because you've got a 7 in a skill, you're going to mark another on the clock. Yeah. So you're marking 2 on a clock. Do you want to hit 2 of them lightly, or do you want to take 1 out?
Let me take 1 out first.
Fine. There you go. One of them just goes down under the bison. You know, kind of It's the one with glowing eyes. It had very good eyesight that could see in the dark. Not great when you throw a flare at it, and it bang, gone. Another two are just entirely kind of bemused and crouching away from the flare that happened. That leaves 3 in the second wave. Sorry, that leaves 2 in the second wave. Let me cut back to Jandetin, unless Incarnate has a spell to unleash.
Yeah, so I've been waiting to like for them to be close enough to do the earthquake. And I think my hope is is between the flare, the bison, and then now if all things are not willing, the earthquake comes to pass. You know, I'm kind of hoping we can maybe they'll that all together will frighten them enough to and we've got the one there with Jandetin, that maybe we can achieve our what we want there. So,
and there's already one under the hooves of a bison.
Right.
What I will say is, because this is going to happen just after the flare and just after the hit with the bison, there is a tiny possibility that if this goes really badly, the bison gets caught in the earthquake. Just to be aware.
We knew what the plan was.
Exactly.
So.
Let's have you call on Inalda's favor. Roll plus current favor, which I think everyone started at 2.
Yep. Right. All right, so 2d6 plus 2.
That's an 8. 7 plus. Your god grants you the full effect of the spell at the cost of 1 current favor. So your favor drops down to 1, but it works. Roll a d6.
Excellent.
That's frankly disappointing. Is that the one of the ones that is bemused by the flare, or one of the other ones?
Probably that group that was right there with the flare is
fine. There we go. So one of the how does the earth? This must be said. Inalda has not come through with a big earthquake here. Why does this one take some damage from this? What do we see?
Yeah, probably what we see is instead of, I think what I was hoping for was because we're away from the rocks now, right? I think I was hoping for it to kind of like the earth to kind of rip open or stuff to shoot up. But I think what we really see is a big, more like a wave, right? Where everything just kind of goes romp, right? And stuff, and not quite as dramatic as I was hoping. So.
Yeah, the trip hazard does 1 harm to one of the brew. That's not a terrible thing, but frankly disappointing. Jandetin, this brew is on top of you, and what with its slavering, canines and the horns, it's trying to gore you. So, what do we see you trying to do here?
I don't know, probably try and smash its nose with like the butt of my sword, so I can get its head away enough to turn a pointy end at its head. So sort of bash and turn and stab.
Might -1 using a short sword. Costs 1 health to engage in hand-to-hand combat, remember?
Already there, so that's fine. I'm getting beaten by a goddamn goat. Let's go. 7.
7. We've crossed the threshold to success. Mark 1 on the clock. Where have I lost my? I've lost my leapy one. Oh, there he is. Fine. Okay. Yeah, you bang and you do some harm. You take none, but it is beginning to. It's hot, I think I'm going to come next to Delenda because we have a bison in motion. So, you know, the bison moves, whatever's going on around it. Yeah, one of them went down under the hooves. What are you doing now? Pardon me.
Yeah, I think if I
continue, or do you want to stop and start hacking about you?
Yeah, I think if I can, I'm going to grab. How big is the body, the corpse?
I mean, too big. I think, given that the bison is quite high off the ground, I think probably too big for you to reach down, just drag it. I would make that. You could try it. You would roll. Riding would apply. You'd roll with might, but I would apply a -2 penalty to drag the body away.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to start hacking. Maybe that will scare the others off.
Fine.
Too. So maybe it will be 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, absolutely. So hang on. That was so we've got 1 crashed under the bison, 1 tripped, 2 still dazzled, and 1 who's coming out of the dazzle. So that, I think, is your logical target. Beg your pardon. Let's have you roll with might. Lance, I can't remember. Have you got a lance? I can't remember. What are you using?
No, I got a broadsword.
Fine. So, you know, you're kind of pulling up the bison and just hacking at this brew, who is, you know, jabbing at you with their spear. Let's have you roll with might.
Yeah. Actually, can I before I do that, can I use my rune spell?
What would you like? Is this the shape changer?
Yeah.
I love the idea because I've been wondering what it's going to be. So, you know, the bison steamrollers through, and then as it steamrolls through, you change into what? But let's see if Waha is on side. So roll with current favor.
So it's +2, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry, the browser is a little.
No problem. Oh,
okay, I got an 11.
Oh, 11. On 10 plus, your god is generous. It doesn't cost you any favor. Waha wants to see this.
Yeah.
Me too. So what do we see? What is this half human, half beast creature look like?
Yeah. So I think I raise my sword and I say, by the power of Waha, and then like my muscles ripple and I change into like I got the head of a jackal. Yeah, and like claws and stuff, you know, like the werewolf, but it's obviously a jackal.
So that gives you a bonus +1 might if you get up close and intimate, up close and personal, and you have the awareness of the jackal until the end of this scene. So roll plus might, add an extra 1 for being a jackal, do your thing.
I almost so for like the let me see, the weapon, the finely made weapon, does that aid to the roll, or
I can't remember how I defined it. Hang on a second.
It says finely made +1 fighting hand-to-hand weapon.
+1 might. So +3 might. Oh, plus your might, +1 for the weapon, +1 for being this muscle-bound, freakish jackal.
No. My original might is 0, so it's just +2, I think.
Yeah. Oh, only +2. Oh, how disappointing.
Yeah, I'm going to roll. I got a 10.
Oh my. Okay, so on a 10, mark 1 health because it costs you health to engage in hand.
Yeah, that's fine.
On 10 plus. So 7 plus, choose 1. 10 plus, make another choice. Do you just want to kill it?
So if I choose both, will I kill it?
You will, because these standard brew have only 2 they've got a clock of 2.
Yeah. So I'm going to kill it.
What do I mean? What do we see? You know, how do you want to get? I can't remember. Did we line go?
I mean, I
We
obviously
veiled go. We veiled go.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously, so what I would want to do is I swing my broadsword sideways, hoping to like decapitate it, but it's probably not going to be that easy. But yeah.
I think I'm very happy for us to see you swinging the sword across. The sword goes down out of screen and then comes up with a spray of blood.
Yeah.
And maybe there's an off screen. There's a kind of boop, as something falls to the ground. Rissan.
Yeah, what I want to do, I mean, the spindly one is still atop Jandetin, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, and I hope Jandetin will take advantage of this. Otherwise, I'm really fucked. No, I will stand where it can see me and say, "Hey, you look very stupid. Come and get me because I'm faster than he is, and a lot faster than you are."
This sounds like wit.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're trying to persuade.
Yep. I
Because I think you have persuasion, don't you?
I am skilled at that, yes.
Okay, so let's have you roll plus wit. And persuasion is in play, so you can't fail.
Oh, it's a 12.
It's a 12.
It should be it's an 11. I miscalculated my wit, but it's an 11. Still works.
Oh, what a shame! Because this rule has a 12 plus outcome.
Oh no. Well, sorry.
So on 10 plus, this goes very well. Yeah. So this thing has been thumped in the nose by the pommel of a short sword, and then it sees what looks like much easier meat.
Yeah.
And you're just standing there, like, me? And it leaps towards you, so it's going to come after you. But because you got 10, you can have a +1 on somebody's next roll.
Yeah.
Some other narrative advantage.
I would like to give that to Jandetin because he is close by and the thing isn't paying attention. So I think that might be a good moment for him to just hit it.
So you're hoping he's going to stab it.
Yes.
Before it lands on you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's
the plan.
We'll come to that in a moment. Incarnate. The two who were entirely dazzled by the flare have now shaken that off. This, Delenda is up there, or Jackal form has just beheaded one of them. What are you going to do? Because the big one is about to reach the bison.
So, I think so.
And it's probably the only thing in this scene that could possibly knock a bison over.
Right. I think she will move to I think she's going to try to shoot the big one with her bow to distract it and try to keep it from because what it sounds like you're saying is next action it could engage with Delenda, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So because the bison has kind of come to a stop, and or not moving at pace now, and you can see it's lowering a shoulder as if to just charge into the bison from the side.
That's what she's going to do. She's going to try to shoot it to either distract it or keep it from doing that, because she knows she's probably not going to hurt it too much. So
now we, the audience, know that when Jandetin shot an arrow at it, it skittered off what appeared to be, some kind of armor. Now it's out in the open and running. We get a good look at it, and it has, like carapace somewhat like an insect. So it's a kind of jointed, chitinous surface. Do you want to take a disadvantage and try to shoot it through the eye? Or do you want to take potluck on the armor?
As an alternative, could he take disadvantage and go for a leg to stop it running?
I like the eye.
Yeah. And I'm probably too far away to. Am I too far away to engage it hand to hand?
You could run at it, but I don't think you'll get to it before it gets to the bison.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give it a shot.
Okay, so because it's the eye or a gap in one of these plates, and those plates go down over thigh and calf. So but if you're going to go eye, so if you manage this, you will kill it stone dead. Right. So you are rolling with might. There is no subtraction because it is really coming quite close now. Anything else that might add to this?
I don't think survival or anything fits in to combat. So
No, fine. So it is plus might -1 to hit a soft spot.
all right. So just a -1 on a 2d6 then, because I have 0 for might.
Go ahead.
Deep breath.
No, do you know? I'm going to let you roll. Wit seems to me to be more about shooting things at a distance, not might.
Well, it's an 11 natural, so is the roll. So that would be a 10 with the -1.
Well, what do you know? So on a 10 plus, you put it through its eye, and the thing kind of just momentum carries it forward, until it kind of its head kind of bangs against the side of the bison, and it just falls on its side. At which point, the limping brew turns and runs. And the two who are dazzled see this happen beside them. They turn and run. Delenda, you're mounted. You could pursue.
Yeah, I don't think I will because we only need the head. So
Just the one head.
yeah.
And so those 3 blue brew disappear, one rather limping and slowly, into the heat haze of the growing heat of the Praxian wasteland. And all about you, a dead brew.
What about the one with the lander?
Yeah,
that
there's
was
one
jumping
that's
on
going
me?
from me to Rissan.
Oh, sorry, there is.
Did it
that-
just
thank
drop
you,
dead
thank you.
by
Shock.
amazement?
No.
Shock.
I think, Jandetin, this is as much about whether you spot the opportunity and realize what's going on. So something like awareness might be the
Yeah, I got awareness. Yep.
What do you know? So let's have
Jolly
you
good.
roll. I think this is roll plus wit,
Yeah.
because this is acting quickly and accurately. So it's roll plus wit. Awareness is in play.
Yeah.
Mark 1 health because you are engaging in combat.
Yep. 8.
An 8. You hit it. You kill it. What does that look? Because it kind of stands up and it sees Rissan looking helpless. And then it's going to launch. What do we see you doing?
I'm going to slice it across the side and then turn and stab it in the back to make sure.
Yeah, fine. Very, very heroic. I beg your pardon. Now there are 5 dead brew. Anything else happen here?
Well, we're not carrying the whole thing. We'll just cut their heads off.
Fine,
Yeah.
fine.
Well, I think we should take all the heads because I think
Yeah.
this is also an opportunity to impress the
Yep.
Agimori with our sort of
Yeah.
the prowess of the
Yeah.
Duke's people, and to maybe help towards the aim of getting them on board with the Duke. So
Yep, good call.
Fine.
Yeah.
Each of you gains the equivalent of 1 coin of loot
Ooh,
if you want it. You could give it to another character if you wanted to, or you can keep it. But there are 5 coins of loot.
nice.
Oh, sorry, 4 coins of loot. I'm counting myself, which would be inappropriate.
I feel it's totally appropriate if you want to call. You're a player too, Alan.
We're all, yeah. I just got nothing to spend it on.
You can give it to another player. You just said.
It is 5 to the hour. I think we'll take our second break here, and when we come back, we will cut back to the Morokanth camp on the second dusk, even early. Okay, see you on the hour. There has to be some kind of arrival in the camp. Where, as you're riding through the camp, Morokanth are kind of following you towards the center to see what's going to happen.
I think I'm holding up a head yelling out, "You must have shown us the way."
I am curious.
I mean, we can each hold up a head, right? Because we have enough.
I mean, you can ride with your knees. You can have both heads up. So there's no problem with display, and so there's a murmur through the camp that grows as you approach the center, because everybody knows by now what's at stake, and it's dusk, and there are fires burning through the camp. You've made your way through the human herds, the beastmen herds, and there at the front is the bigger tent where Kirill and stooping to come out, the 2 Agimori. And what's the kind of, hey, look what we've done. You've shown the heads. Now what happens?
You remember our agreement.
Throw the heads at his feet.
Yeah.
And he looks down and he looks up, and there's an appraising look, which is, well, there might be more to this than meets the this Duke may have something going for him here. And he signals to somebody, and out of the crowd, we see out of the gloom, a head and shoulders above the Morokanth, we see the 2 captured Agimori. Kirill says, "Never let it be said that a Morokanth does not keep his word. Chakuai and Spear, your warriors, they are yours. Depart in good grace." And he turns to you and says, "And tell your Duke that I am impressed by his power." Unless you don't want it to be, the rest of your perambulation around the kind of fief is more or less, and there's no trouble. I will tell you this, and maybe I'll share the map at this point, just so I can point you a bit of foreshadowing. Did it tell me that you? Yes, you can now. So you may remember that you started at Horngate, you encountered the Morokanth first, you headed up here to the Agimori, then you came down to the Morokanth camp. From there, you went down through Bilos Gap and across the ford. From there, I Rise. I think Dane said to you, it'll be obvious why it's called I Rise, because as you are crossing the bog, you will see that carved into the side, because these cliffs are probably 30 to 60 meters, and carved it into some cliffs around here are literally 5 eyes, eye shapes. You head up You were told that there was a stone tower. It is clear the stone tower is occupied. You can see smoke rising, but you were told it's supposed to be occupied by a vampire. From there, you headed up into the uplands. Condor Crags, these rise a couple of 100 meters. Do any of you have any skills that might pass for climbing?
I've read a lot about that. That help. Can you remind me what our mission here is? Because
Sorry. Yeah.
To have mislaid the paperwork or something.
No, the objective was simply to carry the Duke's banner around the fief, around his lands, which are broadly, take the Morokanth out of the picture, take the Agimori out of the picture. It's Horngate to Condor Crags and North Bog to South Bog. Yeah, so it's this kind of area. And he simply wanted you to carry his standard around the fief and to bring his justice where it was needed. And I think that's what you've done. If none of you have any view or anything to apply to climbing, I think it's going to be difficult. Does anyone have +2 might? Don't think so. No.
Survival, would that be? I mean,
survival might apply.
You're being chased by a bear or something like that. Climbing might.
Dane was interested whether the Condor Crags could be climbed, because it might be that putting a watchtower up there, because the thing about the crags is that they rise higher than this final row kind of set of cliffs. So from there you'd have quite a good view off the eastern side of this map and that might give indication if one of the beast riders, one of the tribes, was on the move. I think on balance, Incarnate, you think that they could be climbed, but it's not something that you wouldn't scoot up there. You'd want to set a camp up there and supply it for a while.
Could I maybe use sorry, go ahead, Joe, you were the one.
No, I think you're fine, Sabine.
Could I use the insight spell on this?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, give me the words for insight.
Let me check because I'm on the map. The insight says, learn a secret about an object or place or something of its past.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, so I will call about Llankhor Mai.
Yeah.
And ask.
Roll plus current favor.
So you could give me a pointer here. I know I'm not your favorite son right now, and I know why, but maybe this might help someone. And it's the modifier is the favor. Okay, that's 2.
Current favor, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a 10. That's nice.
There you go. So on a 10 plus, they grant you this, and they don't even take any favor from you. You remain fully favored. Wow. So what exactly do you want to know?
I want to know if somebody ever settled there, or is there a regular route that somebody climbed, or if there is a story that somebody climbed this and held the pass for whatever,
Yeah, I think that what you will, I think this will come as a vision.
Ooh.
A vision of the past. How far in the past, you don't know. But you see winged humanoids circling the crags. Mm-hmm. And then you see a flurry of activity where one of the great condors, the great Praxian giant condors, swoops in, and there is some kind of engagement between them. Okay. So I think in times gone by, winged humanoids lived up there, but they were driven off by enormous big birds.
And I will look at Incarnate and say, did you know things like these? Do you see any sign that giant condors live here? because they used to, and they drove away the people that settled on these cliffs, and those guys had wings. So I think if they're still here, you might not. The Duke might be out of luck in settling here.
I think that what I'm going to say, Incarnate, is that as you look up there might just be on the edge of the very highest crags. You might just see something that might be the edge of a very large nest. Whether it's occupied or not, you'd have to go up and have a look.
I think it's difficult to tell. There appears to be some evidence, but whether it's I can see what looks like maybe nests, but it's difficult to tell if they're old or new. I would imagine if they were occupied, we would probably have seen evidence of maybe, because they're tall, right? So like even for a long time approaching them, we would have been able to see. And if these are giant birds, I would think we would have seen some evidence of them flying to and from the crags, but difficult to say. And you're saying we can't climb them?
I'm saying you could try to climb them. I would use might at -2. Without some significant preparation, some kind of expedition going on. So I think climbing them in passing is probably not going to happen. Okay. Yeah. And from there back down towards North Bog, you will see some whiffs of smoke rising from the center of North Bog. But there's a not very easy ford just south of the bog. But that would suggest that North Bog is occupied by someone or something. And then from there back down to the fort, and I've added to the map tab a large and kind of lower scale picture of the fort at Rhonegarth. Yeah. I'm assuming, Rissan, that you've been taking some notes as you've been going, yeah? And I guess when you arrive back at the fort, now the tent's in the middle, there are about 20 mercenary soldiers that have been employed by the Duke. The Duke has returned from Horngate with a significant number of laborers, and they are working on the walls, and they're quarrying a cliff a little way to the southwest, and there are work crews now beginning to try to make what are just wooden stockades rather more substantial. It's a hive of activity, and there's even a kind of marked out area for where buildings will be put up for the colonists when they arrive from the west. And Dane, in the way Dane always is, he's always overseeing something. He's an engaged individual, and he's kind of instructing people here, there, and everywhere. It's to him that you will report. He will ask each of you in turn to tell him one thing. Let's begin, I think, because he gave Jandetin the standard, didn't he? And what I want to do is to pick out one good thing that you have learned on this, Jandetin.
That we've learned.
Or one good outcome. A good thing. Tell him a good thing.
Yeah, we've met the Agimori proud warriors, and we've shown we can be dependent on and are worthy of their trust.
This is good, says Dane. Well done. Incarnate, give him something that worries you or might forebode not good things.
I think she is very that we met the Morokanth, but they are they are slavers and not necessarily to be trusted They live by a different code, it seems. And they've she'll relay the stuff about the human what they do to people, turn them into beasts and things like that.
Delenda, again, he wants a highlight of a good thing that's come out of this trip, or something that is optimistic.
Yeah, I think I definitely regale how we slaughtered 5 brews.
Brew, he says. You found
Yeah.
brew out there.
Yes, we were challenged. Well, we challenged. Anyway, it's a result of a challenge, and we won, and we impressed many.
Oh, is that why the Agimori? Ah, I see. Well, good. Did you get close to them?
Yes, some of us did.
Okay. He takes half a step backwards. Rissan, give him one thing that worries you or he should be worried about.
Yeah, I think what worries me is that there are brew this close to settled lands, actually, because not well, to be honest, I've never been that close to a chaos being before. I wonder if there is a source for this. 3 of them got away. I don't know. Maybe there are more to come, or more others to come. I would investigate actually what caused them to come here, and if there are others looking to come here into these lands, or close to these lands.
And then he says to each of you, right, don't talk to anybody else, go straight to Darili Godspeaker. And he sees him on the other side of the car, and he calls him over. He says, I want them checked. They got close to some brew. And Darili is kind of, oh, really? Now let me think. Jandetin got very up close and personal to some brew.
Yeah.
So did Delenda. Incarni and Rissan never actually made contact with a brew, did you? So I think I need to start with Delenda. I just need to see if you picked up anything. Because the thing about brew is that they are notorious vectors for disease.
Yeah,
So I think that this is about grit. So this is roll plus grit, Delenda.
yeah.
And you've got tough, haven't you? So tough counts as
Yeah,
as a
so
relevant skill.
I'm going to roll 2d6 plus 1. I got a 7.
Most run thing. So on a 7 plus, I don't want to you reduce health by 1.
Okay.
Because you are Darili asks each of you to hold up your hands. And Delenda, there's a slight shake. Jandetin, let's see how you did. Roll plus grit.
Hey, Alan, is something I meant to do before, but I just forgot. Can after the battle or whatever, I had wanted Incarnate to use her spirit magic to restore some of his health, and didn't know if using that might have any impact on on whether he was, if that would help at all, right?
Fine. So heal restores damage, restores health. It is the spirit spell renewal, I think, which cures an illness.
Okay.
So certainly you can roll a d6 now, and we'll add that to Jandetin's current health.
Yeah. I just also wanted to kind of get that handled, whether it dealt.
Oh, but I noticed that oh, wow, a whole 3, Jandetin.
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
thinking when I hacked
disease
its
save.
head off, I put its head under my arm and a bit of its blood went on my blood, and yeah.
But that's a really good improvement. So you can add 5 back to your health. Well, you can go back to the 10 that you maxed out at. But yeah, you then lose 2 health, and right down at the bottom, infected with the shakes.
Jolly good. Okay.
Delenda, you have a touch of the shakes, but poor old Jandetin has a full-blown case of the shakes. And that is a condition that I can kind of use as a disadvantage until you are properly cured. Because Darilli, he might be able to do something about that, but he has to wait for a 7 Mothers Holy Day, which isn't until next month.
No leeches?
Sadly not. They don't work, he says. You shouldn't believe what people say about leeches. They're chaos creatures. But Dane is pleased. It's taken you about a week and a half to do the full circuit, but you've impressed the Agimori. You found out something about the Morokanth. You've warned him about the brew. Everyone gets 1 coin bonus.
I'll give me his banner back.
Indeed. Do any of you want to? I don't know what people's coin is still a bit low, isn't it? If you wanted to spend that coin, you could spend it. I mean, I'm going to assume that either Darilli can teach you a spirit or tattoo a spirit spell onto you, or you can kind of buy from the Duke any equipment that you wanted. So don't worry. If you want to buy something with those coin, you can.
Race to go and have a bath in a river or whatever.
Yeah, downstream from where they get the water, please. Only one significant thing happens in the next week, and that is that the Duke recruits some newtlings. Newtlings are beastmen. They are, and there's a picture in the NPC tab of one of his down on row 70 newtling mercenary. Because such a lot of the valley bottom is bog, he thinks it's useful to recruit some newtlings. Only a couple of handfuls, but there is a newtling village, in fact, several villages scattered across the Great Bog. And the week after that, the significant thing is that those newtlings bring a newtling prisoner, to the fort. And they say that this newtling was spying on the fort. And the Duke looks at Dane as if to say, what should we do? He's sat in that, that big seat that he seems to carry about, from which he gives judgments and other stuff. The awning's over. And Dane says, it will be an interesting test. Dane looks to the 4 of you and says, this creature is accused of spying on us. What do you propose?
I would like to talk to it. It speaks our tongue, right? So maybe if I can point to these other people here who are big and strong and can harm it, maybe it will want to talk to me and give me some reason to tell these big, strong people not to hurt it.
Go ahead. Let's have you roll to using, I think this is wit, and I think persuasion would be relevant.
Yep. Try that. Oh, it's a 10.
It's a 10. So on a 10, you can ask me two things. So what is the first thing that you want to find out from this Newtling prisoner?
Who's he spying for?
Well, his opening gambit is that I wasn't spying. They just have a thing against my village. They want to cause trouble.
These Newtlings, the other ones, want to cause
Yeah.
trouble with your village.
Yes,
Okay.
because they're all from the South Village, and we're in the North, and they're just making trouble for us. They're bullying us.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And I do know things. I do know things.
What things do you know?
Well, I know that I know there are outlaws. I know there are bandits.
Oh, okay.
The big man in the seat would want to know about that, wouldn't he?
Yes, I assume he would. Yes. Okay. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. Next time, please don't lurk around and spy and give us the impression that you're spying.
On a 10 plus, you get to ask me a second thing if you want to.
Yeah, I'll hold that until I've talked to the other ones, right? I can do
Fine.
that.
So you want to have a conversation with the mercenary Newtling?
No, I want to have a conversation first of all with the other characters.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Duke.
Fine.
And the Dane, I think, tell them what the Newtling said, and say, well, I think he's telling the truth. That there is something more to these mercenaries than we previously might have thought.
He looks to Jandetin and Carne and Delenda as if Dane wants to a view. Well, what do you think? Do we believe him? Looked like Jandetin had something to say. Oh, you've gone muty.
Thing. Doesn't hurt to go and have a look.
Mm-hmm.
He can remain here as a guest while we visit.
Well, and test his information on the North Bog.
Mm-hmm.
Delenda, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's possible. We know that Newtling can be quarrelsome. They say Waha liked Newtling so much, he deems that there must be two villages of land instead of one.
Incarne, what are you thinking?
Yeah, she agrees and reminds Dane, we've already seen much, Newtlings, Morokanth, they're no different than us and than humans. They have their own divisions and groups within it. There's no reason, at this point to snap to any judgment. Let us venture into the bog and see if we can ascertain the nature, and it would be good information for the Duke to know whether there was the kind of the state of what he's dealing with his allies.
Dane likes that. He thinks that's a sensible approach.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the two handfuls of Newtling mercenaries, they have reed boats. The Newtlings use, though they are aquatic, they are amphibious, they do have reed boats that they kind of get out into the bigger bodies of water. And Dane wants you to go to the North Bog with the mercenaries, take this one with you so he can tell you where these bandits are.
I thought the captured Newtlings said that the mercenaries were the bandits.
Oh, no. Sorry,
okay.
I misled you.
Oh, okay.
No, there's tension between in the Newtling community.
Yeah.
But he's also saying that in the North Bog, there are bandits hiding out there.
Okay.
And those are the ones that I think Dane wants investigated.
Okay. Then I'll ask the second question I got. I want to know why is the tension between North and South? What's the point of contention there? From the view of that North Village Newtling, right?
He gets a bit reticent. And he says it's about the eyes. Some believe, some don't. Some follow, some don't.
The eyes on the cliffs.
The five eyes.
Mm-hmm.
They are said to be a prophecy.
Mm-hmm. And what's
a prophecy that will see Newtlings given all we've ever wanted: power, position, prestige.
you don't sound too happy about that prospect, actually.
The other part of the prophecy is that we have to give something up for that. But the prophecy doesn't say what.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So however dissatisfied I am with my lot in life, I'm not sure I want some promise unless I know what I'm paying for it. And
That's reasonable.
And the elders of my village, they say that we shouldn't worry about prophecies in the future. We should worry about today. Whereas some of their elders, they say that the five eyes are the future. And that's where the friction comes from.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That is.
And then I think we will cut to 3 reed boats. 2 reed boats, actually, I think, with a pair of you in each of them. Who pairs with who? Difficult to take the bison, Delenda.
I think Mona wrote "be right back" into the chat. I don't know if
right.
she's back.
Fingers crossed. Well, we'll worry about the bison in a moment. But yeah, so I'm seeing 2 reed boats heading up the River of Cradles. From going north towards North Bog, coming out of the Great Bog, which is miles across. I mean, North Bog is about 2.5 miles by 5 miles. So it's, these are big volumes of bog. And who's paired with who? Incarnate? Who do you choose to? Is there one of the player characters that you feel you want to share a boat trip with?
I had no particular. How about Rissan?
Fine. Rissan, Incarnate, and Jandetin, Delenda. And the lead boat, I think, probably has Incarnate in it, using that survival and tracking and all those kind of wilderness skills. That's where the captured guide is. Delenda, we're just saying that we've cut to 2 reed boats heading up the river towards North Bog. Incarnate and Rissan are in the lead boat. Incarnate just using survival and tracking just to keep her eyes about them. Delenda and Jandetin are in the second boat. Jandetin using awareness, keeping eyes about. You have to leave the bison at home.
No.
No way to get it on the boat.
God damn it, we should have gotten a bigger boat.
And I think, Jandetin, what I want you to do is to roll. I'm getting some. Is somebody not muted? Because I'm getting some very strange noises over my. Was that me? Oh, maybe it was me. I don't know. Anyway, so Jandetin, I think I want to roll plus wit. And I think awareness would be a relevant skill.
$14. Good enough.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. You are being paralleled by newtlings in the bog. Whether the mercenaries have spotted them or not, I don't know. You certainly know that there are newtlings in the water paralleling you as you enter North Bog. I think I'm about to start babysitting a dog, so excuse me if there's a slight disturbance in the background when a dog enters the room. I don't know what they're going to do when they see this dragon newt attacking this woman with a shield. Incarnate, let's have you roll with wit, and again, I think that probably tracking or survival would be relevant. You're rolling plus wit.
Okay, here we go. My wit is what, +1? 10.
Oh my goodness me. You are ambushed. Oh, here is the dog. If you just put stuff down.
Okay.
And
Okay, all right. And there's a tube.
okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Never let your spouse go to the cinema with a friend when that friend owns a dog. You are aware that you are about to be ambushed, Incarnate. And because this dog is whining, I think that's where I have to cut. And we will pick up at that ambush next time. Okay, sorry about that, but I think I'm gonna.
That's fine. It's a good spot.
I'm not very good with dogs.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I would
It's a
like.
good place. Yeah.
But I would like a quick stars and wishes, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I am distracted. I won't pretend I'm not.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll give them a treat.
Well, can you do that outside? I'll be finished in a minute. So yes, stars and wishes.
I'll go first. Having a bison plow into a herd of beastmen, that was great. How often does that happen in games? So that was a nice highlight for me. I thought Rissan jumped in and ran with the group pretty well. That didn't feel awkward or nothing. That was all cool. Wishes. Yeah. It's only a short campaign, so yeah, no, it's all good. More of the same.
Okay. Let me go next. Sabine, any stars, any wishes?
Oh, stars to all of you for allowing me to jump in so quickly and rather seamlessly. Stars to the fight. That was a lot of fun. And I have one question though. It says we get an XP if we finish a mission for
add an
whoever.
XP. You're
Yep.
quite right. Everyone gets an XP when you finish a mission. Go on.
Yep.
Add an
Okay.
XP. Thank you.
Is there a slot for them though?
Yeah, there's up on row 13, 14. There's a little experience which currently sits at 0. It now becomes 1.
Oh. Okay, thank you. Yep, and other wishes. I mean, I love looking at this world. It's kind of a lot of fun, and I want to see more of that.
Fine, we'll try and deliver that. Mona, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, I like the.
You went suddenly quiet.
No, I was looking at.
Sorry.
Yeah, I like that Rissan, like he adds a lot of like complementary skill to the group, and so it's interesting. And also, yeah, I think like the fight is definitely the highlight. like including the action and also how our original plan gone completely wrong, but it worked out anyway. So yeah, it went horribly right, and yeah, that's cool. So
Any
yeah, I
wishes?
think I'm really interested about that tower that supposedly has a vampire in it. So I would be interested to like see like if we go to explore it, or like I don't know, maybe vampires come out at night. I don't know. Yeah, that's my
Okay.
wish.
Okay. Maybe there are vampires, question mark. Okay. And finally, Joe, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying Bronze Age, which I've kind of been turned off of fantasy for a while, but this is just, it's really different than just your traditional sort of stuff, and I'm really enjoying that. More, maybe more than I thought. It felt like, oh, not just another fantasy thing. It's just very different. And I really love how everybody's like leaning into the, you know, the characters around, you know, the challenging of the, you know, Blake, you know, the challenging of the Morokanth. It feels right in line with Whomcott and that. And then, you know, the whole the image of the bison and the just like I just see the head, the like goat men just flying everywhere, right? Just seems was pretty awesome. And Sabine, I really like the um yeah, I'm going back to bed, right? You can scoot off in the dark all you want to, but the whole playing the scholar, that was great. So I really had a great time today. Wishes.
Wishes?
I was thinking that I'll just throw this out there at the end. I have a complication of being drawn to a particular place, say where and why when you see it. And so I was thinking about either the eyes or the tower, right, as being something that, you know, could tie that complication in to that. So that would be fun too. So
No, fine. I think I can deliver one or both of those. We got two interests in the tower, one in the eyes. And yeah, a star to me for you leaning into this world where you may not know a lot about it. But yeah, I think Glorantha's a lot of fun. I think more people should play more things in it. And I am enjoying the nostalgic rush. Thank you all for that. And wishes, yeah, let's see where it goes next time on our way to see if there are bandits in a bog and being ambushed. So I'm going to stop the recording there.